Hello, it's my
Okay, can you
my
hear us?
co-host. Hi, Corey. How are you?
Okay, perfectly. It seems like it's working. Cool. Welcome everybody in here. So first thing first, let's start with the practicalities. You have a chat on the right hand side, so let's make sure that you ask whatever question that you may have. That's important for us for that to be dynamic. You can even vote for the question that you like. So if you think those questions are relevant, just vote for them so we have time and we can choose the question that we will have time to answer because maybe we will not have the time to answer everything, even if we will try to. It seems like the survey is quite interesting. A lot of people writing informational type of content, not that much transactional, a bit of navigational, commercial content. What do you think, Darmesh?
I am a greedy salesman, so I wanted that commercial content number to be higher. But as I mentioned, informational content is really the funnel for the majority of my leads.
Okay, it seems like I have a problem with the sound. Is it
Uh,
working? Yeah, okay, it's working now. Okay. I was hearing you and then not, and I was like, okay, that's a panic attack that I'm gonna have.
we
No,
already tested it. The people in the chat were kind enough to confirm that they can hear me
okay.
okay.
Okay, let's get to it then. So today we're going to talk about an amazing topic. I think I'm pretty excited about this one. We will need to talk about attract, engage, convert. So from making people to come to your website up to the conversion part, because obviously what we want to have in here is people to buy, to generate revenue, right? That's what we want to have. And today I have the pleasure to share the stage with an experienced guy. Yeah, very happy to have you in here, Dharmesh. Do you want to say a word about yourself?
Yeah, I'd love to introduce myself. So my name is Dharmesh Patel. I've been in the digital marketing and content space for about 2.5 decades now. So just a few years after it kind of became prevalent. I'm based out of Houston, Texas. And in 2 weeks, I will be celebrating my 10th year at Jaya. And for the past 5 years, I've been serving as Vice President of Customer and Partner for North America. And we touched on this a second ago. Corey, myself, we are very informal guys. If you have a question, throw it in the chat. If we're in a position to answer in real time, we will. Otherwise, happy to parking lot it.
Cool. Yeah, that's an amazing resume that you have, Dharmesh. I'm a bit shy now.
I
So on
think
my
that's a
side,
very nice way to call me old, and I will take it.
yeah, thank you for that. So it's been on my side 12 years in the SEO industry, only 8 years at SMG. So Dharmesh, you beat me on this one. Yeah, I've always been working in the digital space before agency development part, then going to the SEO part. I worked on about 1,000 different websites. So I started to have a bit of experience. I lived in Canada, in London. I'm French, obviously. My first name is Corentin, but it's too French, so call me Corey, please. So yeah, that's me. Maybe a word about our companies, and then we'll jump into the session itself. If you haven't heard about SEMG before, let's do something about it. So SEMG is an AI-powered solution for what we call content excellence. Behind the word excellence, there are two things that we want you to have as a client. First, more performance, more conversion, more revenue coming from SEO in your content strategy. On average, it's 40%. And the second thing is productivity. We want you to save time using our platform. So in here, on average, we divide by 2 the time you need to produce and optimize piece of content. So productivity and revenue, that's the main thing that you want to have when you use SMG. And let's do the same with Dharmesh and let's get to it.
Gladly. I have a difficult time explaining what I do for a living at parties because a lot of my friends are not in the space. So if you're not familiar with CMS, content management systems, or DXP, digital experience platforms, the easiest way to think about it is WordPress on steroids, or the software that the IT department puts into place so people in marketing, people in business can manage their own content without talking to IT. So if you need to put a press release out there, you have beautiful drag and drop systems that make it easy to publish your content. If you are familiar with this space, Jaya is the highest rated, most flexible digital experience platform on the market. We power websites, portals, internets, apps. The way we're a little bit differentiated is that our product lineup is all inclusive. There's no nickel and diming. we are hyper integration friendly. So leave the stuff where it lives on the back end. We will push and pull it and make it look like one experience for your end users. And we have a built-in customer data platform. So if you're ever on benandjerrys.com and seeing the 22 different languages power, or if you remember those beautiful images coming out of the James Webb telescope last year, or the Hubble telescope for the past 2-3 decades.
Yeah, those were amazing.
They were, and they were a small panic attack for us because they were 200 megabytes each. And we didn't know if there was going to be 100 million page views in a day. We didn't know how viral they'll go, but 0 outages, 0 issues. So that's us. So let's get into it. Corey, can you give us the big picture on the search landscape?
Yeah, let's get to it. I think there are a few things that we need to talk about before we go into the attraction part, because lots of things have been said about search as a whole. And so let's talk about the reality of things. First one is Google is not dead, not yet. And I think it's not going to be the case in the next coming years. So in here, we consider the market shares of different search engine, and we can see that Google is massive. It's kind of a monopoly in here. Nearly 94% of market shares are at Google, and it's still growing. Last year, it was 22% growth. So yeah, we are talking a lot about AI search, Perplexity, ChatGPT. Of course, we need to think about it. Yet we need to think first from a business standpoint about Google, because that's where the money is, okay? Yet, that being said, we need to talk about AI search because maybe that's going to be the future and we need to be prepared. And the best way to be prepared is to do things well from a search standpoint, like a classic search standpoint. Here you can see the correlation between the organic results. If you rank well on organic, you will rank well on AI search. That's one thing that you need to have in mind. It's an amazing study coming from Sam Rush, and go for it. I think that's something that let's not be too stressed about it. Let's do things well, quality first, and everything's going to go well, okay? Third thing is SEO is a long run. It's a marathon, maybe a neutral trail. And so you need to think about it when you talk about the return on investment on SEO. You can see here the trends on you invest $1 and you get X or Y in terms of revenue. So you can see that when you invest $1 in SEO, you have results pretty fast. When you invest $1 in SEO, at first you have the low-hanging fruit, so you will have results quite fast, like in the next coming weeks. Then you will start creating new things, so you will have a down phase, and then you have an exponential phase. So that's really what you want to have, and that's normal. You can't do anything about it. That's the way Google works. That's something that you need to have in mind. And one thing that is really important is we need to work on diversification on different things. And I think, Dharmesh, you can give us a bit of a story on that, about that, right?
Sure. Since I've been around since the beginning, 90s baby and all, we got to backtrack a little bit. If you want to talk about the evolution of content, originally sites were simple. There was the BBS. So that was just pretty much text that you would get through old school modems. Shortly after that, you had images, animation. If you can remember the horrible GeoCities websites of yore.
It's pure HTML, nothing on it.
Yeah, incredibly busy. And then you come forward, blogs have been emerging for 20 years, and obviously they've had a resurgence in the past 5, 6, 7 years. And then a beautiful thing happened, which is technology lowered the cost of production. Once upon a time, getting a camera and a microphone and all that was a difficult job. And now it's all inclusive in all the hardware we buy. So, but that allowed everyone to be able to make high quality podcasts and videos. So in tandem with all that, social networks grew. Today, most of our clients are putting out pretty diverse forms of content in diverse channels. You have their website, their social, their LinkedIn, YouTube, whatever it may be. And if you think about it, each one of these channels can also spawn its own content machine through UGC, user generated content. If you're not familiar, think about the comment section, think about reposting, think about forums.
Reddit.
Think about Reddit. Last year, Google signed a massive deal with Reddit to get access to their information. So that UGC machine is a big part of the equation. It's a giant feedback loop. The audience is drawn by the content, and then in turn, they're also drawing the content in real time. So you have to know the most prevalent types of content that are performing, and you have to know the most productive distribution channels. So you invested a lot of time in making a piece of content. You might as well distribute it and advertise it everywhere. So with that, we'll come forward and we want to talk a little bit about how difficult your job is right now. So if you don't mind sharing, the people in the chat, maybe you can put in a couple comments about your conversion metrics. And it would be nice to kind of benchmark that against what we're seeing as an industry standards. So according to a research study by Ahrefs, 96.5% of web pages receive no organic traffic from Google. So that means you have to have content that performs and counts as much as possible. So even after a page gets a click, the conversion rate from there is equally challenging. Less than 3% convert and take an actionable CTA, click call to action. So what we know is even after you get a lead, it's incredibly challenging to follow up with them. And we'll give you some anecdotes on that when we get to the convert part of the equation. So why is it so difficult to get traction? One, the biggest problem is there's a lot of clutter out there. So Corey's going to show you a couple of ways to get through that clutter. Maybe your page attracted the wrong audience and it didn't match the searcher's intent. Our goal is to understand how to overcome some of these obstacles and maximize the visibility of your content. So we're about to get into the meat of this. I scared you a little. I've given you the gloom and doom. We're going to talk about the path forward. Truthfully, with a little bit of best practices, a little bit of training, and a little bit of technology, you can make content that performs and converts. So a few of the topics we'll cover today: how to target an audience, how to make a website that performs, and how to make personalized experiences for your visitors. In a nutshell, attract the right audience, engage them properly, and then convert them to leads. Attract, engage, convert. That's the theme for the day, because at the end of the day, it's just about them. That what really matters is them. So hopefully we can talk about this in terms of theory and practice. We don't want to just give you a bunch of information that you're not in a position to execute on. We'll touch on AI, SEO, content, personalization strategy, and all too ubiquitous CRO. So, but more importantly, to just summarize it, we're going to figure out how to say the right things to the right people in the right time in the right place. So with that, Corey, you mind digging into the how of how we attract, engage, and convert?
Yeah, thanks for that. Thanks for the introduction. I think it's now time to get into, okay, we want people to come to our website. And so the first step to do that is to define the content strategy and attract qualified lead. I think that term qualified is very, very important because if you have a huge amount of traffic, you have amazing rankings, but you don't have the right people coming to your website, it's nonsense. Let's imagine that you're a B2B company and you only have B2C people coming to your website. We have a client that is selling insurance to companies and they rank on insurance. Okay, it's amazing, but nobody cares because I, as a person, I'm not a company. So yeah, that's important to have in mind, qualified traffic as a first KPI. So the first thing that you need to do is to understand where you're at. And so you need to be able to understand your market. So whenever I talk to a marketing guy or whoever in the marketing team, and I ask a question, who are your competitors? And they are not able to answer, I'm like, okay, that's going to go wrong. It's not possible. You need to be able to identify who are your competitors. You can have different competitors per line of business, yet you need to be able to have those competitors in mind. So the best way to do that is to put a graph, and in here to compare the organic traffic trends. So to know where you are. So in here, my example is on State Farm. You can see that overall they are in the second position on the insurance industry in the US. But when it comes to non-branded traffic, so exclude everything related to the brand, so everything related to State Farm insurance, State Farm car insurance, etc., they are only in the 7th position. So they have an amazing brand. Congratulations to those guys. Yet they have something to do when it comes to generic keyword, generic traffic. Okay, you can also compare yourself to your competitors in terms of production, because of course, if they work more than you, they produce more than you, they will get more results. Of course, your competitors are not like, they are intelligent people. And so when they do things, they try to optimize their things. So one thing is to be able to fight with the same weapons. And that's what we have at the bottom of the page. we can see that State Farm is producing way more than Progressive, for example. So again, you need to be able to compare yourself to your competitors in results and in production. So that's SEMG short, but you can do it by hand. You can identify that using different tools. And then you need to identify what should be the content strategy. You need to put that in writing. The first way to do it is based on competition, again. So different angles, you can do it by page type, you can do it by marketing for the stages, you can do it by persona. So here, to save time, I will only present one by persona. So basically the way to do it is you can use it, you can do it manually. So you use Ahrefs, use SEMrush, use whatever SEO solution that you may have, and you export the file on each of the URL that you rank on with the main keyword, and line by line you say, okay, that's a piece of content for a specific persona. So the first one is for families, the second one is for drivers, the third one for homeowners, etc. It's time consuming, yet it's mandatory. Otherwise, you don't know who you're trying to target. And so you will not be able to personalize the experience, either the piece of content, the thing that you will actually write on the page, but also the experience on it. Because maybe the CTA, when you try to convert a driver, can be something like, very specific to a driver type of person. When you talk to a student or when you talk to a senior, it's not the same CTA because those people do not have the same expectation. You can also do it using AI. We are in the world of AI, so that's amazing and an amazing opportunity. And so you can use AI classification. AI is not only to create text or images, it's also to help us to be more intelligent, to do things that we are not able to do because we don't have the time to do it. So in here, you can also identify that, for example, on the person of homeowners, Progressive is getting 10 times more traffic than State Farm. So again, if I'm the CMO of State Farm, there's something to do in here, room for growth. That's good news. So that's based on competition.
Corey, just to give a quick example there, he's giving you intelligence about an audience that's visiting. If you have a piece of information that you already know correlates to them, we have a client, they know 40% of homeowners have pets, and now they are marketing or retailing a piece of pet insurance to them. So you can sell more product to a category when you understand their correlations. And it all starts with being organized.
Yeah, and I'm in here in the abstraction part of the webinar, yet it's also about the engagement. For example, if you have like a page about home insurance dedicated to homeowners, but you know that 40% of homeowners, they also have a pet, maybe in the image that you will have, you need to have a dog or a cat or whatever, because that will ring a bell to the people that you want to talk to. So you need to have those information for you and your competitors, again, to know the weaknesses and the strengths of your competitors. So that's one way to create your content strategy. The other one is based on your priority. So your line of businesses. So I'm pretty sure you all have some priorities, and getting some traffic on one line of business or another one, it's not the same. So let's say we are an insurance company and we want to sell car insurance because the lifetime value on it is amazing. You can see in here, on each and every keyword related to car insurance, who's ranking, what's the traffic they get, and what's my position. So for example, on the first line, I'm in the 4th position, and on the second one, I'm in the 16th position. So 1st position, I'm pretty good. 16th position, I'm in the 2nd or in the 3rd page. So I need to do things. So I can just add those things into my planning. Here again, it's empty, but you can do it using CSV files, then you classify it, etc. But you need to have that to be able to prioritize the job that you will do. And then you will go to the production part. And when you go into a topic, you need to go all in. It's not possible. If you want to attract people, you cannot produce one piece of content and that's it. That's never going to work. Or if you are in a very niche market, but yeah, if you are in a competitive market, no way. So if you go for a topic, again, go all in, go big or go home, as we say, go big, please. And so one of the strategies to do that is, okay, you want to rank on car insurance, you will have clusters about type of insurance with a lot of things on the different type of insurance. You can talk about how to choose the different ways of choosing those things and how to get a car insurance. Maybe you can have car insurance plus model or plus brand or plus city, etc. You need to be as legitimate on the topic as possible. Otherwise, it's never going to work. okay? And you need to create clusters, so to make links between all of those pages. And one thing to have in mind, and maybe that's my favorite slide on all of the deck, is when you produce a piece of content, you need to answer your audience need, and also in at the exact same level, but it's correlated. So good news for us, also to Google algorithm. Otherwise, it's never going to work. And it's not a brand campaign. It's not a TV ad. It's not a social ad in here. We want people to come to a website because they want to, and we are answering to their needs. So, and people are not necessarily searching for what you want them to look for. So we don't care about what you want. We care about that what they want. That's the only thing to have in mind. And I sound angry. That's weird. I'm not.
I sound cynical, so yeah.
And you need to do it at scale. And so here is the cool thing with the technology, because you can get help from the tech perspective.
Yeah. So Corey just gave us some great advice on strategy, planning of content. You can think of that as the theory and the quantitative part. But now we actually have to produce it. And to some degree, this is the very human part of the equation, the qualitative part. Candidly, this is something our organization has historically struggled with. We didn't prioritize it as much as we should. So let's follow the journey for a piece of content from beginning to end. As a whole, you go from concept, someone has an idea for a piece of content, to publication. So then you distribute it everywhere. That makes sense. That process is internal collaboration. So perhaps you have a governance battle. Marketing says, is this in our voice? Is it
Classic one?
Classic one, right? So you have to get through that layer of editing and rewrites. And then you come forward, maybe you have to go through legal. They're going to ask you to insert some information, maybe delete some information. And I usually find that to be the hardest part. Eventually you'll get all the approvals, the check marks you need, and you publish it to your site. And then perhaps your sister site's the multi-site part of the equation. Hopefully you only have to make that piece of content once, and you could distribute it across all your digital properties with just 1 or 2 clicks if you have a good CMS. And then on top of that, you have to go multilingual. Let's say your brand owns several sites in several different countries. You're going to have to use your translation tools, and you're doing all of these processes while keeping an eye on SEO, right? Anytime you translate, you're going to have to adjust accordingly. Here's my tips. If you don't have a good workflow, your content will never make it live. It's going to sit in some Google Doc with some comments on the side, and it'll die there. So have a workflow in place. Run an editorial calendar. I highly recommend running an editorial calendar. Have owners, have a timeline. Otherwise, it'll never make it live. I think it's important to know who your approvers of content are, but also to know who has veto power. If you know who has veto power, you can cater to them. This is as much a process of knowing your family as it is knowing your external audience. So know it ahead of time so you can actually get a piece of content live. Because as Corey mentioned, you cannot tiptoe into this. This has to be done at scale. This has to be done consistently and with level of volume. So put your workflows in place, use your technology, and you want content velocity, and you want a lot of it.
Yeah, and maybe if I may add one thing in here is we are not seeking for perfection. It's never going to happen. So if you want like the best thing ever, don't start, because it's never going to happen, because you have so many constraints, external constraints, Google, the audience, you have in-house, legal, editorial, brand, product, etc. So it's all about being better than the competition. It's not about being good or being bad. It's about being better than the competition. The rest, nobody cares. That's the only thing you need to have in mind. So I totally agree. And if I can give you a bit of a story in here, we have a client, a big one. I will not say the name because I can have problems. But yeah, same industry that I was talking about just before. And they have, so it's a group. They work in, I think, 90 different countries, and they send master templates. So it's a piece of content in English, and the markets are supposed to translate those content and adapt. But the adaptation part was never done. So they were, and it was really, so it was a US company, And everything in here was US based. So they are talking about, I don't know, Ohio, Minnesota, specific laws in the US, etc. And I was looking at another market in Latam, so in Spanish, and they were mentioning Ohio. So it's nonsense. First, it's never going to rank because Google will say that's BS. But also, if you have people coming to your website and those people, they see, okay, you talk about car insurance in Ohio, etc., or you talk about snow, but you live in Colombia, nonsense. So you need to be careful about all of that. And the workflow that Dharmesh was talking about is also, okay, there is a step, adaptation, proofreading, who's validating, and then that's it, that's live. But you need to have that in place, otherwise you're never going to make it. And if you do by magic, you're gonna have problems of quality.
Corey, you brought up a good point, which is it doesn't have to be perfect. Myself, I struggle with writing. Writing is not my strong point. For me, that's when I will start with bullet points, feed it into AI, and then edit the heck out of it. I think Corey's going to touch on that a little bit later. I don't enjoy making images. If you look at this Google slide, that little content factory you're seeing on the right, AI generated. So don't be shy about using some of these tools that are coming out there to help you get a start. And then make sure it's appropriate. So make sure it has the reviewers in place. So, all right. So, I'll get off my little cynical soapbox, get back to task. Let's get back to our target audience. We've attracted the audience with some compelling content. All right. We adhered to best practices. We made it appropriate for the local market. How can we engage them? How can we eventually convert them? So this is the sexy part. The page view has occurred. All right. But now we want some clicking around. We want some duration. We want some below the fold action. Corey, let's talk engagement.
Yeah, I think there is one question that if I were in the audience, I was like, yeah, you want to produce at scale. You want people to come to your website, and then you want to have an amazing experience that's a bit weird because it's hard to have like big production, big volume, and amazing quality. But no, I'm not dreaming. And we are in an AI era, so that's cool. We just need to use the right tools. And Dharmesh touched about it. Okay, you can use AI as an amazing weapon for that. So the only thing is, okay, you need to think about quality first. And quality to me means three things. First, optimize for search engine. You need that piece of content to be visible. So if you want to rank on Google, it's SEO. If you want to rank on social media, it's different. Because with image or in Pinterest, it's with image, okay. But you need to optimize that page, that piece of content, that content for visibility. Second thing is you need that piece of content to be interesting, and that comes with expertise. If you want me to produce a piece of content about, I don't know, whatever, something like haircuts, that's funny. Of course, I'm not an expert. So maybe I'm going to rank because I'm an SEO expert. It's been 15 years I'm working in the industry, so maybe I'm going to rank. But my advice are, again, nonsense, because I'm not an expert, because I have no hair. So I'm not an expert in haircut. Dharmesh is. You look good. Dharmesh like, what the hell is he saying?
My time is limited. I'm going to be on your team in about 5 more years. So.
And so that's the expertise part of it. And as a company, you have that knowledge. So you need to use it to feed the AI. And then the last part is the brand voice, the unicity. You need to be unique. And that uniqueness comes from two things. The first one is your identity, who you are as a brand, the way you write. And as a human, you do that doing 3 things. You trust your gut. You're like, okay, that's me. That's how I feel about it. You maybe have some editorial guidelines and also your experience. But when you do that using an AI, they have nothing about it. They do have the editorial guidelines, but you can also train them on the past publication to train a kind of gut feeling. And you can also give them some custom instruction to guide the AI to be like you, to write like you. And we fall back into the expertise part. We said, okay, we want to write interesting content. But as you're an expert, you will also talk about different things that will make you unique. And as a human, you would do that using your brain, your memory, with some research on Google, on books, on whatever you want, and you will ask your colleagues. But as an AI, you need to do the same thing, but you don't have a brain. So you need to be trained on past publication, on web search, but maybe not on reddit.com. So it's trustworthy sources, and also with information coming from humans. But it's possible. Yet you need to set your tool in the best way possible, having that in mind. And we are talking about uniqueness. But when you talk to an audience, your audience is not one big thing that are thinking the exact same way. You have some segments. So you need to be able to segment your audience. And I think, Dharmesh, you have a few things to say about it.
Yeah. So coming forward, segmentation and personalization, this is the technical execution of engagement. So organization will set you free. Build your segments. It doesn't have to be fancy. Make them broad, make them general. It's just a starting point. We can drill down later. Just because you made a segment doesn't mean an entire web page now only applies to that one segment. You can mix and match within a page. Let's pretend you're Ben and Jerry's. If I was Ben and Jerry's, one of our longtime clients, I would start with males under the age of 20. They're the most frequent consumers of ice cream. And then I could tailor some content against that, right? What you show on the page, what you write, your voice, and whatnot. But you have to be open to knowing your audience better. All right, whatever format that comes. Many of you might assume that ice cream only sells in the winter in the South. Not true. Oddly enough, ice cream sales are perfectly fine in Vermont in November. I would have never guessed that, but that's what Ben and Jerry's tells me. So you have to be open to knowing your audience better. There's a new Bridget Jones movie coming out, so I'm sure there's a Venn diagram of segmentation here of females that like comedy and ice cream. Build that segment and then tailor against it. Once you've built out a few of them, you can refine them, you can build them out more. Pretty sure you're building some pretty good treasure maps into insights. So backtracking to our example of homeowners that have pets, there's a strong correlation there. If you have a segment and you are a bank of people that own a home for more than 8 years, they are great targets for refinancing. But you can only target people if you have built that segment against them. So you're going to see patterns of correlation. You're going to capitalize against them. And we'll take all those segments. We will take all those insights and we are going to hyper contextualize it to them. So
what I like about it, sorry, Dharmesh, but it's all about not being blind. You cannot make decisions if you're blind. So you need that data at first and then take decisions. But yeah, again, you need to have the data.
Yeah. And, you know, internally, your company probably knows the demographics that perform. You can just go to sales department, ask them what their existing metrics are for what is performing, or do a little digging into your customer base and see where you see correlation. On our side, we know we have heavy correlation with FSI, financial services industry, travel, hospitality, items like that. And those are the segments we build out. So coming forward, context matters. Did you disappoint or did you perform? Generally speaking, you can put personalization into two big categories: explicit personalization and implicit personalization. If you're not familiar, explicit personalization is self-identified information, previously known information. And you can use that to enhance an audience experience. Think about if you have a CRM in place. Most CRMs have heavy duty information on a client, their age, their birthday, their geography, whatever it may be. Maybe it's the type of subscription plan they have, premium, premium plus, whatever it may be. These are self-identified or given to you in the process somewhat. Then there's implicit personalization. That's where you use clues, inferred information, behavior-based browsing to contextualize experience. So we can use geolocation of IP addresses to guess where you live. So if you are REI and you are in Miami, you get swim trunks. But if you are visiting from, again, Vermont, let's send you some ski pants as far as what you see on the page. So we can add weight to certain pages. Coming back to my banking example, if I'm an existing banker and I go to chase.com, normally I go to just look at my bank accounts, but I've been clicking on the mortgage rates button quite a bit. If I've been clicking there, you know there's an intent. So that's another inferred piece of information that you are excited about mortgage prices and looking to refinance. Perhaps we can ascertain what type of device you do. So Jaya will tell us the resolution of the website you're visiting from. Are you Android? Are you iOS? If you're Android, I know not to make a joke about green text message bubbles. I know it's a sensitive topic. So we can personalize against implicit and explicit factors. It's very easy to do. It's a couple of clicks. And once you match segments to personalization, the execution is rather easy. It's about knowing your customer and highly contextualizing the information for them. So here's the sexy part. It's the home stretch. 4 slides. Stick with us for 4 slides. Don't fall asleep on us. We drew the audience in. We kept them engaged. And now it's everyone's favorite buzzword acronym right now, CRO, not Chief Revenue Officer, conversion rate optimization. Let's see how we can convert this audience into taking a specific action. Corey, can you give us a little teaser on some statistics around current state CRO?
Yeah, one thing that you need to have in mind is people will not convert the first time they are on your website. Never going to happen. Or if that does, it's marginal and it's only luck. On average, it's 7 times. You need to have 7 touch points before any conversion happens. So you need to be visible on every step of the journey. For that to happen, from a content standpoint, you need to be visible on every step of the buying journey, the marketing funnel stages, as we say. So it's awareness, consideration, decision, loyalty. Loyalty is good because it means that they are client, but up to the decision part. And so in here, we have different examples that are, I think, quite interesting. For example, Liberty Mutual, they are amazing at decision. And we have also, I think it's AAA, they have an amazing strategy on awareness. So we have one company educating the market for the rest, and we have one company trying to convert for the rest. So the good strategy is to have a mix of those two. So if I were in the insurance industry, if we have some insurance marketing people in here, if we have Allstate, if we have Progressive, if we have Geico, those competitors, one thing to have in mind, be visible on each and every step, because the competition is not here on each and every step. So again, if you educate the market, you help people to make that choice. That's the consideration stage based on your rules. Because if you say, okay, the price is not something that you should care about when you have an insurance for your car, because insurance is everything. If you die or if your wife dies, etc., you have that kind of angle. And you do that because you're a premium insurance company. And everybody's seeing that like for years and years and years. The thing that will make people buy an insurance will not be the price anymore. But if you do the exact opposite, because you're cheap kind of insurance, everything is going to be related to the car when it comes to conversion. So again, you need to be visible on each and every step to have those 7 touch points, but also to have the markets to obey your rules and not the others. That's very important to have in mind. So it's content strategy, but it's business strategy at first. So yeah, one thing to have in mind, 7 touch points, go for it.
Corey, I think we should maybe let the audience know a little background. We've been talking about insurance a lot today, and there's a reason for that. They're doing it the best in the market. About 20 or 30 years ago, insurance companies realized that their lifetime customer value was insanely high. They used to think of it in terms of annual revenue per person. And then a lot of PhDs out there started writing papers about lifetime customer value. And insurance companies realized it's worth it for us to spend thousands on thousands of dollars in marketing. So the reason it keeps coming up is they're doing it the most because they have the most to gain and the most to lose.
Yeah, and that's also why when you look at PPCs, for example, on home insurance quote, I think the last time I checked it was $26 for a click. So yeah, you need to rank organically, otherwise you will spend millions of dollars to get traffic. So yeah, insurance companies pretty good at that. Bank companies are pretty bad. So, and they do have the money, they do have the budget. So whenever they will just wake up, it's going to be big. So again, if we have some banking people in here, go for it. Now is a good time.
Also, if we have marketers on the call, maybe you can use lifetime customer value as a way to increase your budget. Go fight for that internally. Use the insurance story.
You will have more budget.
Hopefully, yeah. So not all call to action CTAs are created equal. We want you to let the content evolve itself. May the best content win. So heterogeneous, multivariate testing, that is not an infection. It's a term out there. What does it mean? That means we show different portions of the website visitors different content. All right, not just the same type of content, but different forms of content. So that means you could show some people visiting your website a form, others video, maybe others get a Calendly link so they can just book a call directly. Maybe you get a downloadable white paper. Even within each content type, you should test again. So it's not just a form versus a video. Even amongst the videos, you should figure out what performs and doesn't. Some of you on this call, you might have some kids. Think about Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast spends $10,000 on thumbnail images for every single video, which is like probably 10x of what most people produce, pay for just the content itself, right? $10,000 per thumbnail image just to see which one has the best return. So that's a small investment to maximize the return on his video. For forms, you can experiment with which fields are and are not mandatory. We can give a personal correlation here. We wanted, the sales guys and us wanted mandatory fields so we could capture as much information from you audience attendees so we could circle back and follow up with you. Personally, I think us sales guys made a mistake there because we only had a 20% conversion for people that clicked on this subscribe page. But historically, it's been 80%. And the only difference was less mandatory fields. So it was a good lesson for us to learn. In the end, may the best content win or let different pieces of content win against different segments. So these are easy things to set up. You are just tweaking one or two factors at play here. But if you can take your conversion rate from 3 to 3.5 to 4 to 4.5, you might think it's a marginal gain, but that is going to have a huge impact on your bottom line.
Yeah. If I may have a quick story about it, I worked a few years ago with a luxury company, and they increased their conversion rate was by 0.1 or 0.2. It was marginal, as they said at first. But the impact on the revenue, because the traffic was huge, because it's a big brand from LVMH Group, one of the brands, the impact on revenue was more than 10 million euros. And at first, you're like, okay, the graph, yeah, we have plus 0.1%. Nobody cares. But it's a huge amount of dollars at the end of the day. So, yeah, again, marginal gains can be game changers at the end of the day.
All right. So make that investment. Y'all made it to the end. So thank you for sticking with us. We're going to do key takeaways, big recommendations. So on my end, what are my key takeaways? Let's see. Follow best practices for SEO and enforce it through technology. Don't let someone upload an image without filling in the alt tags for it. That is the easiest SEO win ever. You can restrict that on your CMS, on your DXP. Don't let them drag multiple H1s on a page. Brand-wise, think Legos, not crayons. We're going to give you everything you need to build something, but there's a structure to it. So enforce best practices through technology. A/B testing is the easiest way to improve your CRO. Just fiddle around with it, change a few factors, go simple, go complex, whatever it may be. Don't be shy about experimenting. Mind you, it does not have to be a 50-50 split. You can do 98% people see what they're used to, 2% get the weird. Experiment, enjoy, see what happens with it. And personalized content performs better. Build those segments, personalize against it. You're going to increase people's engagement when it's more contextual to them. Those are my three big ones. Corey, what are yours?
First, I agree with you, Dharmesh. That's cool. The first one is don't be blind. It's not possible to be perfect when you're blind. Try to run a marathon with your hands. It's not going to go well. So you need to be able to know what your competitors are doing, what are they doing well, what are their weaknesses, so you can build a performing strategy. So that's the only thing. The first thing you need to conduct competition analysis at least once a quarter. I know it can be a bit hard. It can be time consuming. Yet, if you don't do that, there is 100% chances that you're going to make mistakes, and that's costly. The second thing is think about your audience at first. Don't think about yourself. Think about your audience and think about quality. You need to bring value. If you don't bring value to your audience, at some point, it's going to be a cost, and it's you need to invest in quality. And that's the last point also, because yes, use Gen AI. Yes, of course, SEMG is an AI platform, so I can't say otherwise, but use AI with quality in mind. Quality first all the time. Maybe I'm going to tattoo that on my body somewhere. Maybe my wife is not going to be happy about it, but maybe not. But don't use AI as a generic platform. Like, for example, when you produce a piece of content on ChatGPT, there is no chance it's going to rank, neither convert, neither engage. Not a chance. So it's cool for ideation, it's cool for brainstorming, it's cool for maybe summarizing a piece of content, yet it's not to produce performing content. Gen AI, yes. Generic AI, nope. Don't do that. And I think we are on time for questions if you have time. And I also think if you have specific questions, you guys are under an NDA, and so you can ask a question that you wanted to ask. I think we're gonna shoot our book a meeting with Darmesh, book a meeting with Corentin into the chat, so you can go for it. And so let's answer some question. Yes, Camilla, the session is recorded and will be sent, I think, within a few days, maybe today or tomorrow. I don't know. No questions. We were that clear. Wow.
Someone give us a pity question. Come on, throw it at us. Otherwise, hit that Calendly link, and happy to do a call, and we can show you our products working in action. So, we were asked to not be too salesy on this call, but essentially we are the CMS part of the equation. We have a plugin with SEMG, and within one dashboard, you can build your content, and then you can run an analysis and see how to improve your SEO performance of that content without having to switch programs. It all just sits there in one spot. And so we're happy to show it to you working.
Yeah, and so that's the sales part of it. Again, if you want to see SEMG or SEMG plus Jaya working together, please ask us. We'll be happy to send that to you or to show you that live, even better. Everything related to the AI part in the webinar was screenshot from SEMG itself. If you have those AI content strategy, content performance topic, please send me a message on LinkedIn, shoot me an email, whatever you want. I'm pretty easy to be contacted. It seems like everybody's shy. And I think the time now is over for us. So Dharmesh, thank you for the preparation. Thank you for today. We have questions now.
Yes.
Ooh. Okay, guys, you're not shy anymore. Okay, Rich. So can you really get measurable result with small sample size A/B testing? That's a good question.
It's a good question. It's a fair question. I would say you need a minimum sample size in order to have a piece of information that can be broadly applied, right? However, if you are just doing A/B testing and the goal is to increase your clicks a little bit, I would say try it anyway, right? I don't think it'll be a universal truth on a small sample size, but you did improve the performance of that particular page. So yeah, maybe not repeatable, but still valuable.
And when you say small, Dharmesh, what would be a good number?
I think less than 100 is fair to say. It does not necessarily have a wide stream correlation. That's a pretty, let's just use it as a ballpark number there.
Okay, cool. Okay, we have another question from Micah. Thanks, Rich, for the question. Now, Micah, we're always looking for the best way to use AI to effectively create content summaries without suffering AI penalties. Any thought? Yes, a lot of thoughts. The first thing is you cannot be penalized because you use AI. You can be penalized because your content is not interesting for your audience, or it's duplicate, or all those things. There are a lot of official communication on like the official Google website about that. It's the quality that is rewarded, not the way you do it. So if you type using your hands, using a pen, using AI, it's the exact same thing. Then it's how to produce quality content. of course, so I would say two things. You need to implement your brand voice and you need to implement your guidelines. So for example, if your page template is, I don't know, a certain amount of pixels, and you cannot have like more than 5 bullet points, you need the AI system to be able to understand that. So that's a constraint. It can also be, okay, you talk to seniors, maybe there is a way to write to seniors. So that's, I would say, the first thing. You can also prompt it or having the AI system, the AI model, like specific thing that you want the AI to go for. For example, you're selling a specific type of product. You want that product or the topics related to that product to be put forward in the summary because, yeah, you want basically to do those things. So yeah, I would say first, be assured you will not be penalized because you use AI. You will be penalized because you have no quality in the content piece, and then you can put in who you are into the AI system for that to be relevant.
Yep. Train it on your brand voice, definitely.
Yeah. One thing is we work with 500 brands right now in 18 countries, and we have seen no penalty, not once. And I have seen so many penalties in my career, working with human people, agencies that were cheap, because the quality rater said nope, nonsense, you can't have that on the website. So that's a manual penalty, and manual penalty is hard. But since we use AI with all the quality guidelines over it, nothing. So yeah, it's not a matter of the tool you're using, it's how you use it. Okay, so we have question finally. Micah, Rich, if you want us to talk specifically about your use cases, please send us an email. Dharmesh for A/B testing, I think, and AI, both of us, or only myself. That's generative AI you want to talk about, Micah. Please don't be shy, guys. And I think now is the time to say goodbye.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Appreciate you giving us your time and attention.
Yeah, thanks, Dharmesh. Have a good one.
Cheers, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.